All right, we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about how nonprofits will use AI in the second half of 2025. We have some cool things to show you, some fun ideas to share, and we are going to go right in. Ben, I'll wave to you in Queens later when I face that way. So good to have you here. A couple quick logistics to get started. We will send a recording of the slides later today. Of course, someone will still ask about it. Please do me a favor and tell them that that they will get sent around in the chat. Second of all, this is approved for 1.0 CFRE credits. At the end of this session, my colleague Phoebe, who is, by the way, wonderful and put a ton of effort into this, will share a survey in the chat so you can do Phoebe well by filling out that survey. Here's the agenda for today. Again, recordings and slides will be sent around later today. Let's go right in. I'm Patrick. I've met many of you. This is Jenny. She's the best. Jenny lives out in Seattle. As I mentioned, I am in the great borough of Brooklyn, where we're about to have an election coming up. We are the co-founders of FreeWill. FreeWill is the biggest estate planning and plan giving solutions in the United States, trusted by 2,200 amazing nonprofits, including many familiar names on the call. So thank you for being a FreeWill partner if that is you. If not, we'd love to have you at some point, no pressure. We've been featured in the New York Times, Forbes, Good Housekeeping, and great article in the Washington Post this past week. So go check that out. There's a great climate columnist named Mike. Mike's last name escapes me at the moment. But if anyone has a link to that Washington Post article, feel free to put that in the chat. And nice to be quoted in the Washington Post talking about how important planned giving is. So that was a good thing for me this past week. FreeWill team has raised more than $12 billion for charity, and together we have more than 5 centuries of combined fundraising experience, partly because we're all just getting old, but partly because we've worked really hard at this for a long time. All right. Last thing before we get really going, we love you. We appreciate you being here. One of the many things we will do is to show you that we love you is we are sending a gift to 20 people. This book is called Hidden Potential, The Science of Achieving Great Things. It's by best-selling author Adam Grant, who wrote Think Again, as well as a bunch of other lovely, well-written psychology books. Give it a shot. Adam is a professor at the University of Pennsylvania in the great city of Philadelphia. We will send this 20 people at the end of the session. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Deborah has the link handy because she is also quoted in this article. So thanks so much for having that. Make a note in the survey if you'd like to get a chance to get a copy. Also, that article says great things about the amazing work that the team at WWF does. Okay, so we've asked you how your week is going, and here's what we have. Folks are generally feeling quite good, a lot lower on the anxiety scale. Thank you for summer. Some of you got your kids finally graduated, so that probably made everything a little bit easier. Hopefully some of you are no longer paying for college for kids. How are we feeling about hitting our goals this year? A little slight dip from last week, but not too bad, generally relatively high in the historical context. All right, we are going to talk about AI for the rest of this session, and we're going to dive in. Feel free, if you have any special experience with this, to add it in the chat. We'll be adding, of course, a lot. We will do questions at the end. On the question of the book, at the end of the session, we will drop a link in the chat, so please don't share your address with the 1,200 people that are on this call right now. All right, so how do we explain AI's popularity? Well, research from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, shows that AI increases productivity and happiness on writing-based work. I mean, really interesting things. You really have this trifecta. The work happens faster, the outcome is better, and we are happier doing it. That is a triple win. A recent study from Hewlett-Packard shows that 73% of workers who use AI feels that it makes their job easier, no surprise. 6 in 10 said it plays a key role in improving work-life balance. This is especially important in our sector, where work-life balance can sometimes go by the wayside as people feel so passionately about the work they're doing that they tend to burn themselves out. So this may be a welcome balm for that effect. Surveys show that workers who use AI are 11 points happier at work than their colleagues who don't. This is really important. If you are having a bad day, think about, well, how can I use technology to make my life a little bit easier? I have my good friend Lauren Dunford, who now does amazing renewable energy work. She had a sign in her bathroom growing up, and the sign said, "If you're feeling sad, go learn something," which I think is great parenting advice. But generally, this reminded me of that. All right, so let's talk about what's happened since we last had a big, long discussion on AI. What happened in the last 6 months? Um, Short answer is a ton, right? So AI is reaching more people than ever before. 1 billion monthly active users on Meta's AI assistant across Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook. This doubled from September of 2024, so huge jumps there. Samsung is finalizing a deal with a business called Perplexity that would pre-install the app on an AI assistant on all of its future devices. Samsung is, as you know, one of the largest smartphone makers in the world. Google introduced its AI model Gemini 2.5, which leads industry benchmarks in math, science, and coding. A different Google project solved some never before solved math problems. So went farther than any human ever had. Also fun. Lauren says she went to high school and college with Lauren Dunford. So I will tell Lauren that you say hi um, as well. You probably went to college then with my friend, her husband, Jason Dunford as well. So good to see that. Okay, what else is happening? AI generated videos. Google's VO3 AI video model produces clips that are often nearly indistinguishable from real footage. If you haven't seen these, go take a look. Don't have any examples to show you right now. YouTube introduced a generative AI feature which allows users to create short clips from text prompts using DeepMind's VO2 model. Adobe launched new AI video generation tools in its Firefly app, enabling users to produce short videos from text. What is VO3? Just coming back to this for a second, VO3 creates 5 to 6 second clips of video of any sort of image. It also now has voice, which is very interesting. And so you can create a film noir scene at a Paris train station in 1941, right? You can create an action movie in the future. You can do all these fun things. But because this is incredibly computationally intensive, you can only do 5 or 10 seconds right now. But we're watching this evolve. Google just announced a 2-minute version of explainer videos. And there's this amazing example of a bird flying around explaining the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. Animated parrot, it's adorable. And if this is true currently, and we believe that progress is continuing to grow exponentially, which it is, we are probably by the end of next year, the idea that any of us can create a feature film length movie in an hour. I mean, really just remarkable stuff happening. So that is interesting to see. Obviously, AI image generation continues to improve as evidenced by all of these photos on the right, which are all AI generated as we go through. Competition is causing rapid AI innovation. DeepSeek, which many of you have heard of, is a Chinese AI company, launched DeepSeek VL, a new multimodal model. What does multimodal mean? It means images, video, sound, text, to improve how AI interprets text and images. Alibaba, also a Chinese company, released a new AI model that performs even better than DeepSeek version 3. XAI and Elon Musk, who has had an interesting week to say the least, announced Grok 3, a new model that he claims to outperform all existing AI models. We'll see if that turns out to be true. But you see, there's enormous efforts here across the board. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But we're also seeing more and more nonprofits using this to save time and money, which are always scarce resources historically among the nonprofit sector. There was a great article last month in the Chronicle of Philanthropy where Beth Zimmerman talked about using Grant Assistant to cut down grant writing time by 80 to 90%. Here's a quote. I won't read the whole thing. Won a $30,000 grant in the first month using this, and she's able to apply for many more grants. Big effort there. Grant writing for many of you is both an art and a science, but it is also an enormously time-consuming task. And the ability to co-work with AI and do this better just results in more funding for your organization. So how are fundraisers using AI? How are folks like you using it on a day in and day out basis? Well, first of all, we're using it a lot more. So you can see here, I mean, look at this enormous acceleration of use, right? So March 2023 is a little more than 2 years ago, and only 11% of us were using AI in your work. By July, that was 31%. By last May, it was 53%. By this January, it's 72%, and by June, it's 74%. 3/4 penetration in an extremely short amount of time, and we have about a quarter of folks holding out as well. However, use AI chatbot in your personal life. Again, we're getting up to 78%. So you can see how big this jump is, up from 34% in March of 2023. So a quick note here, why is this happening so fast? Also great image on the right here. It is worth noting that this is the fastest adopted technology in the history of the world, right? So all of this is happening not just surprisingly fast, but it is happening faster than any technology that has ever existed has been adopted by humans or Americans or whatever it may be. And to give you a sense of here, 50% of the US households, how long do you all think from the beginning of sort of consumer introduction of telephones, it took to have half of the US have a telephone? Just take a guess. 5 years, 40 years, 25, 40, 15, 20, 25, 30. The answer is 70 years. It took 70 years from the first consumer available landline telephones, right, to be that. What do you think it is for personal computers? 20, 30, 40, 15. All right. 19 years for personal computers. What do you all think it is for mobile phones? Right? How long until from the first mobile phone being sold to consumer? 10 years, 5 years. Cell phones about 17 years. 17 years from the earliest introduction. What do you all think about smartphones? I think that's the next one here. It might be something else. 10 years, 4 years. Oops, sorry, that's the internet. 6 years. Smartphones are 5 years. Generative AI is about 1.5 years. So we've gone from 1.5 years from almost no American consumers using it to more than half of US households participating here. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And the level of investment, I mean, think about all the news around the world's largest companies investing, as well as the world's best academic research institutions, as well as many of the world's richest countries. All of these are so focused on advancing new technology. And we haven't seen this level of total focus on advancements of a single technology, I believe, since World War II, right? That's sort of my best proxy here. World War II, by the way, at some point, I think 41% of US GDP was spent on defense, something like that, just an extraordinary level as well. When we look at nonprofits using FreeWill's free AI tools called Willy and Sophie, which we'll show you in a moment, already 27% of nonprofits have used these. What is this? This is actually almost 2 years old, so almost happy birthday to Willy. We'll celebrate in a month. Willy generates content that's most relevant to you. It's been used by thousands of nonprofits. It's 100% free. What is it? It's the leading edge AI modules combined with a whole bunch of academic fundraising research to create best-in-class content within seconds. And then for those of you that are FreeWill partners, if you haven't already, go to Partner Portal and check out William, which is like Willy's more advanced older brother. Personalized fundraising emails, personalized direct mail, donor thank you notes, et cetera, et cetera. So much more, really exciting and impressive. Also, those of you that are in the faith space, Sophie is a faith-based tool, nonprofit fundraising for houses of worship and faith-based organizations, also 100% free, built for Christian denominations, main branches of Judaism. We hope at some point soon to be expanding this as well. You can give Sophie a try. What does Sophie do? Saturday and Sunday announcements, bulletin inserts, ideas for sermons, Bible study questions, or Torah study questions, high holiday appeals, e-newsletter articles, and so much more. All right, back to this. How comfy are you with AI? Ooh, we have a really big bump in the middle here. 48% Sam at 3. We've got almost no 5s. If you are in that precious 3%, feel free to add some of your own thoughts in the chat. And some of you are giving yourself a 1, either overly humble or actually totally new to this, both of which are totally fine. When we ask you how you're using it in your daily work, one fundraising director said, I redraft letters, I jazz up my thank you notes, especially when I get tired of writing the same one. Another director of advancement said, I use it to adjust the language in my appeals so that we have exactly the right reading ease. Those of you that have been in our writing sessions know that the right level of reading ability is very important for fundraising letters. The right grade level. Also use it to create original letters, and segmenting by generation. So this is really interesting, right? Segmentation is an incredibly powerful opportunity that you are probably too busy to do without AI. To refine written pieces and generate ideas, also to do in-depth research on various topics. It is a huge, huge time saver. Other things. And one ED said, I had a request for Jeopardy-style questions about endowments and planned giving for a congregational gathering. AI, ChatGPT came through with great suggestions. The report was a huge hit with everybody. So really just creating more engaging events. A VP of advancement said, I asked it about a huge societal problem we're trying to solve. It had a surprisingly accurate take. It helped me see how folks outside our echo chamber may hear or see issues differently than those who are working this every day. So that is a really interesting approach as well. It's incredibly good at empathy for other points of view, better than most humans are, including me. We'll talk more about this in a moment, but this is an incredibly important takeaway, right? It's always easier to see things from our perspective than somebody else's. AI can really help there. It took an agenda of a 3-day retreat and asked AI to create a survey of the programs and events. It came back in seconds, nearly perfect. It would have taken me an hour or two on my own, said one executive director. And you can imagine if you're an executive director of a small or mid-sized nonprofit, how precious getting those hours or two back really, really matters. So, big picture, how to use AI in the second half of 2025. 1, make AI your personal fundraising assistant. Instead of tapping AI to help you with one-off tasks, you can train AI to serve as a thought partner or support all your work. One of the simplest and most valuable things you can do with an AI is teach it how your nonprofit sounds. That way, anything it writes, emails, thank you notes, appeals, even board memos sound like they came from you, and then you can edit them, right? So we're not sending anything without looking at it, but it's perfectly fine to have it write a first draft. There are a couple of different ways you can do this. So one option is create your own GPT. This requires a plus version, which is $20 a month of ChatGPT. You can explore GPTs, you can hit create. This is a great thing to try today. Use the simple walkthrough to do it. What it should do, this is what you're good at writing, how you should sound, warm, confident, here's the mission, what to avoid jargon, avoid an overly formal tone. Then what you want to do is upload your best writing to train it. You try to upload examples like strong performing email letters, newsletters with high engagement, or thank you notes that you are particularly proud of. Michael says this is the best $20 that he has ever spent. You want to include your mission statement or your values and give it a name like Susan's Nonprofit Assistant and save it as well. Also, how great is this sloth sheriff that is AI generated? Now you have a writing partner that understands your voice. You're welcome to not use it. You're welcome to use it. You're welcome to collaborate, but it can be a really helpful avenue there. 2, you can use smarter prompts, right? If you don't want to make it your own custom GPT, a prompt is the instruction you give AI. Create a 2-day itinerary for my trip to St. Louis with my 10-year-old. I don't have a 10-year-old, but if I did, I would definitely do this. The clearer and more detailed your prompt, the better the output. And you can improve what AI creates by asking it to refine its own instructions. This method helps you get on-brand, personalized content without creating a GPT. So step 1, let it learn your voice. We're uploading 2 to 4 pieces that sound like you. Then say, can you analyze the tone and structure of this writing and describe what makes it sound distinct? So you might think, yeah, it doesn't sound like me or it sounds like me, but you actually don't know how to describe what you sound like. And this is a really great avenue. ChatGPT will give you a breakdown of your content with its top takeaways and potentially even suggest ways to improve it. Very, very cool. With smarter prompts, you can ask for the ideal prompt. Based on this analysis, write a prompt I can use to generate new content in this voice or my own voice. It might tell you something like write a donor thank you note in a warm, values-driven tone that references past giving, uses second-person language, and emphasizes community impact. Right. So all of this, again, one of the things that I think is undersold about AI is that it can help you understand yourself better. Very, very helpful. 3, refine, reuse, and get to work. Keep iterating until the prompt feels right. What would make this sound even more like our organization? Can you add more gratitude? Make it slightly more conversational. And then once you're happy, we reuse this prompt anytime we want to draft emails, notes, appeals, etc., all with minimal editing. So that is cool. So now I want to share a couple of creative AI use cases to make your nonprofit stand out. So very, very cool here. 1, leverage donor motivations. Fundraisers are using AI to analyze donor survey or responses at scale. You can uncover patterns in why people give. You can build segmented messages based on what donors value. So once we have survey data, it makes a really good avenue to either batch folks or create individualized messages back to them if they're sort of more major donors and you want to put more effort in. Imagine this as an environmental org. You analyze 500 survey responses and identify your donors' top three motivations: climate, water, and wildlife. With that insight, you create a tailored campaign for each group, speaking directly to what moves them to give. Again, this is something that you would do theoretically if you had more time, but you likely don't. One way I like to think about what should I use AI for is, what would I do if I had an additional 200 staff members? Maybe not more money, but I had 200 people willing to do anything. What would I do then? And we'd probably create more customized messaging to more people, right? So really good avenue there. Use case two, interactive giving experiences. You could use AI to create an interactive giving guide to reflect your organization's tone, stories, and mission. Help supporters explore giving options on their own time. Or a donor could visit your site at 10 p.m. and start a chat with your giving guide. So I think in the future, we look down 3 years in the road, someone visiting your website will have an option at any point to talk to a video avatar who knows everything about your organization and talk about different ways to give, et cetera. This will not replace gift officers, but it's not really the case that I can talk to a gift officer on demand, even if I only give $10 a month right now. So this will be a great addendum to that work as well. You can answer questions about the benefits of stock giving. You could walk somebody through this. You could talk about major program initiatives. You could talk about current campaigns. All of these things are all possible and very exciting. So I want to share one interactive example. To be honest, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we're going to see. So go easy on me if it doesn't go that well. So let's just imagine for a moment that you are a historical museum in Philadelphia. Okay, so some of you, hopefully one of you is this, probably not, but let's say does anyone live in Philly? All right, well, let me know if you live in Philly. And what we're going to do is this sort of Philly. All right, Brandon's here. Tamara or Tamara, pardon me if I got this wrong. Hilda, love your history museum in Miami. Christine's there. So let's pretend we're in Philly, right? One of the interesting things to do here is let me mute this while I explain it. We're going to have a conversation with Ben Franklin.
Thank you for asking. There's always something to be curious about in this ever-evolving world. What can I do for you today?
Ben. Thank you so much for acting as Ben Franklin today. What's your day like? What are you doing as Ben Franklin?
Well, my day is often filled with a mix of scientific experiments, a bit of writing, and of course, a little bit of diplomacy. I might be tinkering with a new invention, or perhaps drafting a letter to a friend or a colleague. Every day is an adventure.
Ben, sorry to interrupt you, but how did you get so curious? How did you become this way? Did you hear me, Ben? I asked how you were so curious. Go ahead.
Indeed, I heard you that time. Well, I suppose my curiosity comes from a love of learning and a desire to understand the world around me. From a young age, I was always eager to explore new ideas and solve problems, and that passion for discovery just never faded.
Awesome. Hey, by the way, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Did you have any siblings growing up?
Why, yes, indeed I did. I was actually one of 17 children, so you can imagine it was quite a lively household. Lots of activity and plenty of opportunities for learning and collaboration.
Wow, that's crazy. Listen, I got to go. We're on a webinar with about 1,300 people. They're all nonprofit fundraisers. They're all thinking about AI and how to improve giving with AI. Based on all of your experience, and I know we're in the future, so it's a little tough, but do you have any advice for everybody as they think about how to think about AI and what they should be doing these days? Nothing?
My apologies for the pause there. Well, if I were to offer some wisdom on the matter, I'd say that AI, much like any tool, is most powerful when used thoughtfully and ethically. I can greatly enhance our ability to connect with others and improve giving as long as we keep the human touch at the center of it all. Best of luck on your webinar.
Great. Thanks. We got to go. Have a wonderful day and enjoy colonial Philadelphia. All right, we're back. So that can give you a sense. And just remember that this is like the worst it's ever going to be, right? So there's a little laggy. It's not a perfect Ben Franklin accent, as you can imagine. And yet it's still pretty wild, right? I didn't know that Ben had 17 siblings. And now I'll remember that forever because I didn't just read it somewhere. I had a personal interaction. And so there are some interesting avenues here. And I think it's something we'll explore together over the first little bit. Use case 3. One of the things that's really interesting, and going back to our empathy point, is that AI is becoming more persuasive than humans. And we sort of dug into a lot of the research and understand, okay, but why? Is it better at choosing words? Is it better at diction? Is it just like, makes fewer grammatical errors than I do? Why is it more persuasive? And one of the avenues here is that, like I said earlier, it's just more empathic. So if I'm trying to make an argument to you, what I'm going to do is tell you all the things I think and why you should think them. But what really persuasive people, and what AI is especially good at, is thinking about it from your perspective and hearing what arguments you need to hear. So it's really interesting there. I want to share 2 quick anecdotes. I didn't put these in the deck. So, be persuasive, or sort of, well, this is sort of only for the folks on the recording or listening to it live. But 2 things really changed the way I view content and training with AI lately. The first is a conversation I had with someone who runs a polling company, and they're a Democratic pollster. So there's 2 things that political pollsters on either side of the world, either side of the aisle do, right? The first thing is the obvious one. They sort of ask, hey, who are you going to vote for in the upcoming New York City Democratic primary, or who are you going to vote for in the Wisconsin Senate race or whatever? The second thing they do is they actually test messages. They say, okay, if I read you these 3 messages, now tell me how compelling you find them. And they've had people who they've employed for 10 years as persuasive writers. And what they're finding is that the AI outperforms those writers every single time in terms of actually persuading folks. And it's because, again, it sort of really thinks from the listener's point of view, what is the most compelling message? And so that is super interesting. And that really changed the way I thought. The second anecdote is a little bit crazier. And this is not someone I know. So I got this story secondhand, but from a close friend and a close friend of his. And it's the story of a husband and wife who are going through a very difficult divorce, right? So I've never been married, never been divorced, but I assume it can be tough. And it's becoming very acrimonious in the back and forth. And so, they're sharing emails, they're mad at each other, whatever. Finally, the husband gets so fed up and says, I can't even engage with this anymore. Takes the latest email from the wife, puts in the chat GPT, says, please reply to this, sends it back without looking at it. Then the wife writes back and says, oh my goodness, thank you so much for saying this. This is so thoughtful. I feel so much more understood. I also realize that I haven't been on the sort of best version of myself. Like, I just really appreciate everything you said here, and it meant so much to me. And then the husband reads it and goes, oh man, like, wow, this is great. Like, I should have been saying this the whole time. And I was sort of, so angry I couldn't do it. And it like de-escalated. They're still getting divorced, but like it de-escalated the whole thing incredibly quickly. And so it's just wild to sort of see that, you're coming with all these stresses, and yet it creates this incredible opportunity. And, they're still, of course, getting divorced, but less acrimoniously so. And it gives someone a real chance, right? It's like having a relationship coach, or in your work, a management coach or a major giving coach at your fingertips all the time. So you might be having a bad day and you're going into this meeting and saying, okay, like, what are the 3 or 4 most important things that I need to convince to tell my boss, to tell an underperforming employee that I'm managing, or to tell this major donor who's sort of on the fence and why they might want to support the arts when there's a lot of other priorities happening. So it's a great, great avenue as well. So anyway, I wanted to share those two quick anecdotes because they really changed the way I think about this stuff, and hopefully it'll inform you a little bit as well. Back to use cases. Stewardship at scale in less time, right? So with AI, your team can draft tailored donor updates based on giving history. It can highlight impact stories that align with each person's support. It can deliver high quality stewardship, even with a small team. It can send donors a quarterly impact snapshot, thanking them for their specific support on the things that they funded, showed what they helped make possible. These are things that you just can't do at scale without this. It will feel personal to the donor. It will only take a fraction of the time that you create. And most importantly, it will be accurate to the impact that they're creating, right? So a lot of our organizations, at its core, what we do is there are people who want to have impact on the world, but there's no avenue to do it. And so they give money to a charity, which then turns that money into impact, right? That's inherently what a lot of our jobs are. And yet being able to relay all that back in a super clear storytelling way is quite difficult. So this itself is a really exciting avenue. Use case 5, in-house gift tutoring, making non-cash gift asks easier for everyone in little or no time. You can build an AI tutor that is tailored to your team, for volunteers, for board members, for anyone in between. Think about how many board members would ask for gifts, but they're not trained the way that you are. We can help people with things like non-cash gifts, stock, IRA gifts called QCDs, donor advised funds, crypto, whatever it may be, right? There are very few people in your organization that are experts in crypto, that are experts in stock giving, that are experts in QCDs. This is an incredible opportunity to get more of these big gifts that are often 50 or 100 times larger than stock gifts, 50 or 100 times larger than cash gifts. So huge opportunity here as well. Here's another thing that makes AI tutoring so good. People are not afraid of looking stupid in front of AI. There's a lot of really interesting research right now around AI tutors supporting, but not replacing teachers, right? Supporting and really advancing kids through grade levels very quickly because, there's a lot of pressure in a class of 26 to say, oh yeah, I understand that. I'm not going to raise my hand and sort of ask what that word means because I don't want to seem dumb in front of my classmates. But suddenly I can say, actually, I don't really understand what that word means. Can you help me out? Or I know I know everyone's talking about donor advised funds, but like, I don't even understand how they work. Can you just explain that to me in simple, clear language? And this tends to be an incredibly valuable tool. Now, why is this important? Well, I'll come back to that in a second. Let me just make these notes here. Students with access to an AI tutor achieve more than twice the learning gains compared to others in an active learning classroom, according to a Harvard study, right? So this is all randomly assigned, by the way. You might say, oh, the kids with AI tutors are richer. No, this is sort of a well-structured study. These gains in half the time, which is crazy. They enhance human tutors. They enhance student outcomes. Stanford study found that students working with AI-assisted tutors achieve mastery more often than those without. Really great avenues. And yet we're not applying these enough in the workplace to get even better. Okay, before I get off this topic, this is incredibly important because let's go back to this slide. There's a lot of conversations about sort of job loss in AI. I do not believe that will be true in fundraising, right? The limit on fundraisers is how much money we can raise, not most people are cutting jobs when revenues go down, not when revenues go up. So it's going to be really important. The other component here is there is an enormous amount of retirements happening across the entire American economy because we are at peak 65. What does that mean? It means that over the past few years and the next few years are the most people ever turning 65 in American history, and more retirements happen, and a lot of these roles are opening up. Right? So it's really, really important that we get good at this. We need to upskill new leadership there. Use case 6, I love this idea. So you write an annual report, and then you create a personalized annual report. We're generating custom summaries for major donors that highlight their impact. We're tailoring the summaries based on previous giving history and correspondence about what they're interested in, or any events that they attended, things like that. The more personal touches show more appreciation. They reinforce connection to the mission. So super, super important. Here's an example. We upload our 2024 annual report. We make an executive summary for John and Mary. They've been donors for 12 years. They recently gave a $35,000 stock gift to support efforts to stop pollution in the Bay. All right. So this is one sentence. And now what we have here is a cover letter, right? What I would do is I would print this out and I would paper clip it to the annual report we're sending them anyway. So for an additional 3 minutes and the cost of paper and a paper clip, we're going to highlight all this, and then we're going to guide them through the most relevant components of the annual report, right? Super cool. Imagine if you are Mary and John and you get this. Learn more about the impact of your gift. Page 10, page 8, page 12, with gratitude, etc. Right? Now, this is not a lot of effort, not a lot of time. You've already put so much time in the annual report. Now let's make the most out of it. And those folks gave $35,000 this year. What do you think is going to happen after you give them this? They take it all in. Next year, they think, oh, $70,000 gift. I mean, it's really, this is not making use of any breakthrough technology in AI, and yet just incredible opportunities as well. Alexandra Main says, I used to do this on my own and it's so time consuming. This is totally true. All right. The other thing we did here, because a lot of people say, okay, great, but I am a blank. I am a museum in Toledo. I am a secondary school for girls in Wisconsin. I am a Baptist church in Texas. I'm an animal shelter in Portland, Oregon. I'm an Ivy League school, right? I'm a Florida orchestra. I'm the University of Notre Dame. So we wanted to dive in and quickly go through a couple of specific AI uses for fundraisers based on different types of organizations. We're going to highlight a couple of these as well. So you're an education nonprofit. Let's say you're a girls' school. Use AI to personalize donor stewardship emails with stories of specific student outcomes while taking away the name of that student based on the donor's giving history. Hey, you funded this. I just want to give you a heads up on what that student's up to, right? And so not just, hey, you funded a student, they're doing great. Hey, they're in the robotics club, they're in the debate club, they're applying to 5 schools, and now they're going to UConn. Super cool, right? And you can do that for each donor, each scholarship. If you're an alumni office, you can use AI to use predictive analytics to score alumni based on likelihood to give and recommend personalized outreach strategies as well as personalized talking points when you call that person. If you're a community college, well, you have a bunch of people trying to navigate your website. Maybe they're thinking about applying, right? But a lot of community colleges, people are saying, oh, maybe I want to go. I don't know. I'm working 9 to 5 already, so I'm going to check this out at night. I can't go to visit your office. Now there's a student question about scholarships, maybe nudges them to donate after graduation. Private K through 12 school, maybe you're using what's called natural language generation to write customized impact reports for parents who donate to the annual funds using data from classroom attendance and test scores. Again, we're protecting personal privacy here, but these are all very cool. If you're a museum, let's analyze visitor data and recommend exhibit-specific donation prompts in the app or at the kiosk. Did you love the Impressionist gallery? Help fund the next acquisition, right? If you're a theater company, can we get some personalized thank you videos using an avatar AI, which is made first by an actor in a costume, delivering it with a donor's name and gratitude message? If you're a public library, can we analyze borrowing data and match donor interest with funding needs? Let's say a donor reads a lot of sci-fi. Let's suggest supporting the graphic novel collection as opposed to just the general fund, right? You can imagine how much better that is. If you're an opera, let's segment patrons by frequency and type of attendance to tailor high dollar giving asks at the end of subscription cycles. Also, let's say someone's only coming in May or June. Maybe that's when they're in town, and that's when we're going to schedule a meeting with them to ask for a big gift. Your health and medical, right? Let's use AI to auto match grant opportunities to research projects, et cetera. If you're a blood donation center, let's use chatbots to re-engage lapsed donors, offer them a chance to donate money if they can't give blood. You can also say, here's where we are on the different types of blood, and maybe you're a type O donor, we need extra or whatever. Mental health hotline, again, with a bunch of privacy protections here, you can use AI call summarization to pull anonymized success quotes for use in donor meetings. You also might want to use it to evaluate how effective your callers are. And the most effective callers, what can they teach everybody else? For international development orgs where it's been a tough time, if you're a clean water charity, you can use drone data and AI to track the functionality of water wells, push automatic impact updates to donors who funded each project. And that would be super cool. Sub-Saharan African girls education, use LLMs to summarize field staff reports into compelling narratives for major donor updates. Let's say that you are an awesome organization working in Senegal and you get great updates. Well, what are the problems with your American donors? Those updates are probably in French, if not Wolof, right? And so being able to say, look, here's what we heard in real time We've translated into English for you. Do you want to contribute to more of this work? Really great opportunities to help people feel like they're right on the ground. All right, so we won't read all the rest of these. Animal shelters, cool things, right? Um, Wildlife conservation, can we track animal populations, generate audit reports, et cetera, et cetera. Civic engagement, more stuff here. Geo-targeted fundraising emails tied to specific legislative actions or court rulings. Your gift helped defend voter rights in Georgia. Suddenly, right, the work is state specific at each level, and so on and so forth. All of these will be shared in the deck as we follow. So I won't read them all out because there's a lot of them, but you can see here, most of your organizations will be represented. Excuse me. All right. So much more here. With that, we are going to pause for a moment. We're going to, my colleague Phoebe, bless her soul, is just put a link in the chat. If you click on the chat icon right now in Zoom, some of you have been like, there's so much going on in the chat, I can't focus, so I've closed it. Go back, open it, and click on the link that Phoebe just put. First thing in the survey is a gift, hidden potential, the science of achieving greater things, which we all want for you, by Adam Grant to 20 people as a gift. This is the survey where you can add your name and or address as a chance to win it. Make a note in the survey if you'd like a copy. Second thing, on Thursday, June 12th at noon Eastern, which just happens to be my 41st birthday. So if you want to come hang out with me on my birthday, you can come to our Grant Assistant session Thursday at noon Eastern. And we're going to walk through Grant Assistant, which is an unbelievably cool AI tool to help you rapidly speed up AI grant writing and finding grants. So there's now something like 17,000 grant opportunities in here, and the tools use AI to understand everything possible about your organization and then filter the very top grant opportunities in the world for you. So come check that out. Good for small orgs, medium-sized orgs, large orgs. Also works for organizations not in the United States, unlike some of the tools that are much more US specific. So come hang out. Please do that. We appreciate your time today. The best way you can say thank you is to fill out the survey because it lets us collect information to make these better next time and make all of the other folks here a little bit better off by making these sessions even better. So next steps, please fill out the survey. Next webinar is in 7 days from today. We are going to talk about how Make-A-Will Month, which is August, how Make-A-Will Month became a can't-miss fundraising event that raises almost $500 million annually, and how to make the most of it. What are some very practical steps you can use for Make-A-Will Month, which is the by far the biggest event in planned giving nationwide and worldwide increasingly. So come check that out. We'd love to have you there. That's next Tuesday. The Grant Assistant thing is this Thursday, June 12th. If you have any questions, if there's anything you need, if you think, oh, I love this, but I cannot get my board to use AI and I want your advice, email me at patrick@freewill.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I work at FreeWill. My name is Patrick. My last name is Schmitt. So hit me up there. Shireen asks, is there a sign up for the grant sessions on Thursday? Yes, it is in the survey. So click on that survey. Kathy Sheffield says, thank you, great job, which means a lot. Because if you don't know Kathy Sheffield, she is potentially the world's greatest plan giving consultant. Some say, up for debate, but some say that world's best plan giving consultant. So if you haven't met Kathy Sheffield, go find her on LinkedIn and connect with her. She's a great asset to the entire community. What else? Liz says, can we get recordings next week if we will be out of office? Yes, Liz. RSVP for the webinar, and we will send you a recording after the fact. Thanks so much. All right. That's it. It's 12:50. Everyone gets 10 minutes back. I'm going to go take a 3-minute breather before I go into another 4 hours of meetings today, so you can pray for me there. Anthony says, where is the June 12th presentation on Grant Assistant? It is virtual. If you click on the chat, we will send you a Zoom link. So thank you so much. All right. Appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful week. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday and next Tuesday. Again, we will send the recording and the slides as soon as all of this processes, which is usually like an hour or two, just, a little bit of download, upload to YouTube, finish the page, email it all to you. So you'll get that soon. Thanks for everything you're doing. I mean, it's one of the best parts of our week, if not the best, the sort of first 2 minutes of these sessions when everyone sort of talks about where they're coming from and the work they're currently doing. And we're so unbelievably proud to support you in it and so grateful for all you're doing. And can't wait to see you all on Thursday and Tuesday as well.